Hi, this is Matt Donegan from Business Spotlight. I'm here with Adam Keane. Adam, can you tell me who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please?
Certainly. So, Adam Keane, like you mentioned, I'm the CEO of K-Labs Group. K-Labs Group is comprised of three principal ventures. There's the original company, which is Kene Partners, which is a R&D tax advisory firm. There was a spin-out from Kene Partners that exists in Kazakhstan called Connect. And we have this holdco, which I work for, which is K-Labs. And we do a bit of strategic investing, mostly into seed rounds for businesses where we like the founders, we like the mission, we like the team, kind of links with our values and our ambitions as well. So K-Labs kind of encapsulates everything and pulls it all together. So we're a small team in K-Labs across the group, across the principal companies. We're 65. In terms of what I do, I help kind of, oil the wheels across the industries, across the businesses. I work with our business leaders to make sure they're reaching their objectives. I push them on the things they say they're going to do. I hold them to account. I coach them, advise them. We chew the fat on issues. We get into some of the nitty gritty on where we're going, why we're going there. And I guess the final bit is I do a bit of stuff like this, a bit of public facing work and go out and meet partners, go meet clients and that type of thing. So we're 7 years into our journey. Kene Partners started it all off, and then kind of the other business have kind of peeled off the back of Kene Partners as the original one. It's still the biggest, and yeah, everything kind of formed around it.
Excellent. So you grew a core business, and then you've developed other ventures around it based upon your skills and your ambitions, I guess. So what made you start the business in the first place?
So I always wanted to run a business. When lots of kids in the playground were saying, I want to be a fireman or whatever it might be, I wanted to run a business. I wanted to run a business advisory firm. It's really sad, but I was always fascinated by it. And I guess I bided my time a little bit. I wanted my early part of my career to be educational, and I wanted a few things to align before I went for it. And there's probably never the perfect time, but I think 2017 was when it was as near perfect as it was going to be for me. And so when we set up the business, it was formed with two founding principles that I thought would be powerful at the time. And interestingly, they've stood the test of time. We still talk about them to this day, that they're a large part of the narrative within our hiring process, within training, and within our kind of general conversation. And that was, we wanted to solve some what we considered fairly routine poor service levels across the industry. And the other part was we wanted to create a really inspiring, engaging environment for our team to work within. And they go hand in hand, right? And I have been surprised by how they have stood the test of time. They're quite basic in a service industry. Let's make our product really, really strong, and let's make it a great place for our team to work. But no matter what's happened, COVID challenges, growth, our size, other ventures, they have remained our core founding principles to this day.
Yeah, they're a business with a core belief system in it. They tend to last long, and they tend to grow, and they tend to, they do provide a set of tracks for the rest of the business to run on, and for all the staff to engage with. And once you have that, it's quite a powerful vehicle. That's great that you've done that, because you'd be surprised at the number of businesses that don't. And we would always recommend doing that. If you're going to start a business, what is your why, and to permeate that throughout the business. So what makes your business stand out in the sector? You've got, there are three there, but let's talk about the service industry first. Let's talk about the R&D first and see what we do.
Yeah, and that is the core business. I think, I don't know how much you know about the R&D industry, but it's been through a lot of change of late. rightfully so. The right things are happening, the right moves are being taken. And our USP has always been, we want to go above and beyond for our clients. We want to deliver for them. We want them to genuinely feel like they've got a really consistent partner in their corner, in a really crucial element of their business. Really powerful, potentially game-changing funding for them for some of the projects which could revolutionize their business, really push it forward. And so us prioritizing service levels has always been our USP. There's obviously a lot that goes into that. You can't have just really good client service people. They need to be experts as well. So there's a kind of a matrix of parts which lead to good service. And so we do a lot of work on what that feels like for the client, what their experience is, what their journey is. External speakers come in and talk to us about what does it feel like to look after someone to the extent that they become an advocate for your business. And then you don't have just your core BD team out there talking about you, but you've got all of your clients as well. So we knew that if we could unlock that, it would be really, really powerful for us. So our USP is all around what the client experiences, and it's been powerful.
Okay, so you started with a real focus. You've always wanted to run a business. You've got a core set of beliefs that run through the business. Your USP is to stand out in the market with service. So all those things are fairly aligned. That sounds like a really good foundation for a business. What's the journey been like? Has it been simple growth? Have you gone through rocky times? Has there been a hockey stick? Tell me how.
So we had a really fast start. She blew out of the blocks. 2017, 2018 was extraordinary. We nearly got to £2 million in the first 18 months of revenue. Was crazy. In a service business, we were kind of wowed by that. I consider 2019 our second year to be what we call, kind of in jest, but at the time it was quite tricky. We call it the tricky second album. We went, right, double the size of the team or double the size of the business. And we doubled the size of the team and the business hardly grew. And, what we didn't have was the right management structure, processes, systems in place to handle a team of 20, where before we were 8, 9, 10. So we had to take stock. And in 2020, it was really formative for us. COVID was a really interesting, formative, galvanizing time for us as a group. And we had the opportunity at that point just to get some neat structure in place, prioritize finding some really good leaders. And we're able to kick on in 21, 22, and 23, and they've been relatively consistent, 20%, 25% year-on-year growth across those 3 periods. So in terms of kind of where we've leveled out at a nice organic growth rate. We've never taken any investment, never looked at finding any external funding, because we wanted to keep things quite tight and do things in a measured way. And that's been, been really grateful we've done that, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds like a smart move. I think when people see accelerated growth, it's very easy to use the train analogy again, for the carriage to come off the tracks. You just go to
and you can get tempted by it. I hear a lot of people in the startup community talk about metrics of success being about how much money they've raised. And for me, that isn't success. I don't know if I don't understand it. It could be the case. I've never really been exposed to it. But for me, metrics for success is achieving what you set out to achieve. And what we set out to achieve was to create a really good product, and to deliver impact along the way. Not to be as big as possible in a short space of time. We could have done that, but it would have been a very different journey, and not one which meets our values. So, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that we stuck to the original mission in hand, because when times have got tough, there's been a solidity there. There's been traction. There's been staff that have been here since day dot. Which provide that real stability when when you really need it.
That points to a positive culture as well inside the business, which is
and for me, culture comes from having a strong identity. Identity comes from having a strong set of values and living by them, not just sitting in a room one day, coming up with them and then forgetting about them, bringing them into action daily, weekly, monthly, however you want to do it, getting creative on how you do it, not just having them printed out, put on the wall, but actually doing stuff around them, hiring by them, maintaining, training by them. If you've got that, then it's clear when someone isn't, part of the core values. And then culture just, breeds off the back of it. And so if you have someone in the business that is a high performer, but they don't value client service, for example, stand out like a sore thumb. They don't enjoy it, and the rest of the team don't enjoy it either. So it makes it much easier later down the line. Whereas I think, first couple of years, you're still working out your identity. I can speak to it with clarity now, but at the time, I think we're still working out who we were. So yeah, it has taken time to permeate and settle and be comfortable with that's our place in the world.
Yeah. You've probably heard the expression by Peter Drucker, the management strategist, management consultant. His famous quote, and I love this quote, was that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Love that. And by defining a culture, you can drive a business far faster in a far more determined, focused fashion than you ever can with any smart strategies. I love that. So
I think we talk about that quite often, actually, and I think you have to be, if there's anybody watching this that are really in the early stages of their kind of business, you have to be aware that whatever culture you devise can have negative externalities as well.
Yeah.
And our culture is client service, right? But if you think about what could come as a cost of that, you might say commerciality. What if you've got a small client, small opportunity? Client service is what we do, but you spend far too much time on it. You go above and beyond for them, but it doesn't match the commercials that you might be receiving. Fine. I get that. They're growing. They're a big opportunity. It's about doing the right thing. But if you're doing that left, right, and center across a big team, what's the external cost of that? So you have to be really aware, I think, that embedding a really powerful culture can have knock-on effects.
Yeah.
And I think it's not an issue if you're aware of it, put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So what does the future look like?
More of the same. We see a big opportunity in our space. The changes that are happening, the scrutiny that HMRC are putting on claims, like I mentioned before, we welcome, and we're really well set up to be one of the leaders in the future, because of all the things that I've mentioned. So we want to capitalize on that. There's going to be consolidation across our market. We want to emerge over the next few years as the leading light in our space. So yeah, like I mentioned, more of the same.
Right. Okay. And what's the main challenges? What's holding you back? What's stopping you from delivering what you wanted to deliver?
I think when I was giving this some thought before, I think the business challenges are probably what most people are experiencing: changing market, changing environment, wage inflation, all of those various things there's always something, right? Every year there's something going on. I would say personally, my biggest challenge is, as a CEO, is there's 65 plus people that have entrusted our organization as the place where they are going to spend their time. 40, 50 hours a week, whatever they choose to do, right? That's where they spend their time. And the young nowadays have put a lot of time and thought into curating a really attractive profile, into honing their skills, making themselves better, because they take their career really seriously. It's amazing and completely different to my generation. And they are doing night school, they're going and learning soft skills. They're, the degrees that you see come through are extraordinary. Some of the CVs are incredible. And they then land in the working world, and it's our job to continue that journey for them to meet their ambitions. and not to expose them to stuff too quickly that it's scary and overwhelming and daunting and stressful, but give them the right exposure at the right time, the right journey, the right opportunities to match the value they're giving with the remuneration that they're achieving in an ever-evolving world and ever-evolving people. And so I think my biggest challenge, and the thing which, you know, I think about a lot and keeps me up at night, is how to do that for a large group of people, and to deliver for them. And you know, it's not something we're ever going to get right, because we're always going to need to be upping that bar. But yeah, it's probably the biggest challenge which we face.
Interesting. We speak to lots of different businesses, as you would imagine, and some of the challenges that they confront are often about time, team, and money. With the team issues, one of the things that we've started to see, and I don't know if this is on your radar at all, but is a move towards B Corp, and some surprising possible candidates for it. Have you ever considered B Corp? Has that come on your radar at all?
One of your questions is around what's in the pipeline, and we've literally, within the last, I think it happened about a month ago, we just finalized our application.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are a few reasons for doing it. One is that we have a bit of a joke, which is a silly joke, and it shouldn't be a joke, but it is a joke amongst the leadership team, that we're the best R&D tax advisory you've never heard of. And we're quite proud of, obviously, who we are. You know, we've grown at a sensible rate, but we don't really shout about it. You know, we're not too public facing, and we operate with good partners and a great BD team, but we don't go out and make these huge public statements and get involved in a lot of that noise. But we wanted a public stamp of credibility on the business, and when we did a thorough review, B Corp was the one that stood out to us. So yeah, we finished the application, and it's going to take a few months for it to be reviewed and the like, but we're feeling confident that we're going to get it. And it's part of our move to kind of come out of the shadows and be a bit more visible in our world.
That's fantastic. I mean, I love B Corp in general. I think it's a great standard to have, and there's so much more loyalty from customers and from staff when they know that they're going to be treated well, and that the company has a bit more of a why. People are constantly searching for meaning in work, and working for a B Corp just gives it a bit more of a soul. They know that they're an environment that is nurturing, and I think that's fantastic. I really do, genuinely.
And the application process has been valuable in and of itself. You know, they have really strict criteria. The bar is high. Some of it you go, well, those are points which we can meet quite quickly and easily because they're natural in our business. And some of them you go, that bar's higher than where we are. How do we improve? And so, you know, we've taken steps across the board in our environmental policy, in the way we treat our staff, in the way we choose suppliers, always been pushing that it's forced us to push some of those bars even higher. So even the application process has been great, and we've enjoyed doing it a lot. It's been tough, don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of work gone in, but yeah, we've enjoyed it.
Congratulations. I'm sure it will come. I'm sure the certification will come, and you'll be trading as a B Corp. I mean, it's a huge change.
We'll be the only specialist R&D advisory firm in the UK carrying the B Corp badge.
I believe you. Yeah. I mean, there's a move towards it, but it's a slow move. But I think people, you know, the younger workforce need meaning in their lives. They need something that they can attach emotionally to. It's not just about money. It's not a carrot and stick either. It's purpose. It's meaning. It's their why, and that's clearly so important. So, as a business owner, what's your biggest lesson over the last few years?
I think probably the biggest lesson has been to trust your gut Often the answer is within. Don't be afraid to admit you're wrong. But yeah, trust your instincts. I think when I look back at times where perhaps a wrong decision was made, or standards started to slip, or whatever it might be, it's normally because you go against that natural instinct. And you know your business better than anybody, and you can go and gather loads and loads of advice, and you should, absolutely, but filter it hard, put it through your gut test, and go with what you think is the right thing to do. Early on, I can give an example of this. Early on, we had high standards, but as the business grew, I got more distant from individual clients, individual relationships, processes, and alike. And people were telling me that's just a symptom of a growing business. My gut was telling me that wasn't the right thing. And what did I know? I'd never grown a business before. And instinct was right, and actually having really high standards for myself and for the people around me was really important, right? Because there is going to be a natural filtration, from you to the members of the team. No one's going to take it seriously as the owner. It's natural, right? But you want that to be as minimal as possible.
Yeah. Okay. And so, if you were to meet your 18-year-old self today, you bumped into yourself in the street, what would you say to yourself about your business journey?
I think my 18-year-old self was goal orientated. I think my 35-year-old self is journey minded. And I think there's a big distinction.
Yeah, there's a huge distinction between the two.
I would never be able to see satisfaction in the strife. Age 18, I would see that as the annoying bit, and I'd see the goal as the exciting bit. And I feel the other way around now.
Really?
Strife is the best bit. The challenge, where you get to lean into it, where you get to learn more about yourself, where you get to overcome it. That's the epic bit. The goals come because the strife is there. Right. But we use the language journey minded a lot, and what it then does is it takes it away from when we reach that milestone, life is going to be amazing, and goes, life is amazing right now. We're living it right now. We're doing it, and it's a lens to which you see the world through, right? Yeah. But it's a change of perspective that I didn't have then.
It's a huge change in perspective. When all the businesses we work with, we are goal minded. And it's partly because sometimes there's friction in getting to those goals. The strive can be difficult, and without being too philosophical about it, you can. I think it was Nietzsche that said it. You can, no matter how difficult the how, if there's a why, then the how, no matter how difficult and painful it is worth it. So you can bear the how if the why is significant enough. It kind of sounds like you're doing it the other way around. You're just enjoying the how rather than the why.
I mean, the whys happen. You know what I mean? Like, for us, we measure success in terms of the impact stories that we've generated. And that can be from our clients doing amazing stuff. It can be from our staff, finding their place in the working world by joining us. You're spending the majority of your time on the day-to-day. And, like I said, it's a lens, right? It's how you see those issues. So the autumn statement, yes, is a great example. It's a really good example. Okay, so we've taken body blows, we've taken headshots in the R&D tax space. That's one way of looking at it. But yesterday we had some good, we had some bad. There's a body blow, there's a kiss on the cheek, there's a bit of a mix, right? you can't walk away from that and go, oh my God, another body blow. You know, it's just the next chapter, right? It's the next opportunity. And so, yeah, the journey is, I always say the guys, and I've heard them say it, that, you know, the journey is all we have. It really is. And my 18-year-old self didn't appreciate that. It wasn't about that. And don't get me wrong, we still do goal setting. You know, I run a goal setting workshop every year. It's still part of what we do, but it's not the be all and end all, you know. And that's the important distinction.
I love that difference. That's a very different philosophical perspective to work to the traditional business journey. It's a very interesting.
And I think the other part, I think, to my 18-year-old self, that was a bit of a nightmare looking back. You know, I would have, the people that are on the podium within the business world back then, you never got to see how they got there. You know, you don't get to grips with Branson, Peter Jones, you know, that time, Theo Pathetis, you know, the guys on Dragon's Den are the people that were the business, you know, public facing names. You think they got there quickly. You think that Dragon's Den is a quick route to it. You know, that's what we saw. I had never appreciated how the phrase hard work pays off, how true that is. There is no substitute. You know, there are probably people that land an absolutely incredible trade on Bitcoin. I don't do any of that stuff. For me, actually, you just, you know, you turn the handle, put one foot in front of the other, you know, day by day, you keep going, you work hard, you work with intention, with purpose, and it will pay off, you know, and I didn't know that then, and I definitely do now, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. A good tip. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? I know you've said about B Corp, which is huge. Are there anything else, any other plans that you've got in the pipeline that you'd like to share across any of the businesses?
I think the R&D tax world has been through a really interesting change. Business models have been proven to be incorrect. There is a new model which is going to take point in the future. And I don't think it'll be a model where clients feel and see anything different, importantly. But I think the way in which you reach that is going to be fundamentally quite different.
Right.
And that's about all I can say.
Okay. We'll watch this space. Thanks so much for your time. Really enjoyed speaking with you. Fascinating to hear your business journey. Fascinating to hear that the journey is the focus for you. I think that's great. I love the B Corp, the B Corp move. I think that's brilliant. Let's keep in touch, and I'm really interested to hear more about your business and your business journey in the future.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.